Now in today's video, we're going to be running through my team selection ahead of Matchday 11 for UCL Fantasy. Now before we dive into today's video, of course, if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And especially if you enjoy the UCL content, make sure you hit that like button, let me know in the comments section and hit subscribe for plenty more content coming your way. Let's first off start off with how our team got on in Matchday 10. As you can see, it was nearly there. We finished on a small green arrow heading into the top 10k. We're now currently ranked 9k, so it was not too bad a game week. Could have definitely been a lot better if, of course, either Dembele got himself a goal, which is absolutely unbelievable that he didn't, considering the amount of opportunities and, of course, the amount of goals that PSG ended up scoring. Thankfully, though, we did have Barcola, Pacheco and Hakimi to help us along with that. Theo Hernandez's red card was very, very frustrating and something that, of course, did lead to us having to leave him on the pitch for a -1. I did also accidentally mess up my substitutions as well and left Harry Kane in there. We could have been a 1 point better off, but unfortunately I was just a little bit kind of lackadaisical with my substitutions. Did them early in the morning before I went to work on the toilet. Didn't quite work to plan, did it? Obviously my brain hadn't quite kicked into gear at that point, but when it did kick into gear, it was Kylian Mbappe. If you watched the video from 2 weeks ago, should I say, sorry, you saw that I was debating on potentially bringing in Vinicius Jr. Now, throughout the Tuesday, I kind of was looking at the betting markets, saw that Kylian Mbappe was more likely to get, obviously, goals and more likely to get a hat-trick. And all of that kind of just swayed me in the direction of picking Kylian Mbappe, and I am so glad I did. I was also debating on whether or not to captain him as well, because his data was looking better than Dembele's heading into that Brest fixture. I didn't go with that, unfortunately. I really, really wish I did, because who knows where we would have been. Probably in a lot better position than we are, just creeping into the top 10k. Maybe we would have been knocking on the door of the top 5k if we'd have got that decision right. Overall, though, I'm still pretty happy that we did select him. It's still a green arrow. We've got to take that and we've got to keep on moving forward. Let's, before we head into the team selection, let's look at how the draw has kind of obviously panned out for the next stage. Obviously, look at the tournament bracket. I think it is clear to see that the side on the right is just a lot more favourable for teams, isn't it? I definitely think Barcelona have a great opportunity here to make the semi-final, if not the final, with how this side of the draw is looking. They're probably either going to play one of Bayern Munich or Inter in the semis, and I still think they'll beat them. So I definitely think it's worth investing heavily into their side. Same with Dortmund as well. They've got a pretty decent chance to make, you know, the semi-finals again. Decent fixtures in the quarterfinals. Same with Inter as well. I think with their strong defensive record we've seen so far this season in the Champions League, definitely worth considering some of their defenders. On the left-hand side, I definitely think it's a lot harder. I think both PSG and Liverpool could progress to the next round. I probably would say that Liverpool are still the favourites. However, I'm not too keen to have any kind of Liverpool defenders for this opening tie with PSG being the home side. Bruges versus Villa, you probably have to say Villa are the favourites, but who knows what could happen in that one. I'm not going to bank too heavily into investments with that one. Obviously, with my team as well, I don't have the wild card to get me out of jail if, of course, it doesn't go to plan and, you know, we get to the quarterfinals. A lot of the teams that we banked on quite heavily have messed up, so we've got to be picking teams that have high progression opportunities. And for me, I do think it is going to be Benfica, Dortmund, Inter, probably Real Madrid, Arsenal and Liverpool, in my opinion, are going to be the teams that have a higher probability of progressing to leave us in a decent position where, of course, transfers can get us out of a sticky position if we got into one. That was, of course, the draw bracket and, of course, the teams that I am looking to potentially target. Now, let's head on into my team selection. Wasting no time, let's head into my team selection. Starting off first with our goalkeepers, it is going to be Raya and it is going to be Martinez. Thank you for the people on my ultimate draft video that pointed out that Jan Sommer has picked up quite a serious injury and probably is going to miss large proportions of this season. So we've gone with their backup goalkeeper. We've gone with Martinez. Him and Raya both play on different days across both of the round of 16 fixtures. And the reason that I've targeted both of these goalkeepers, and as you can see, Dumfries and Gabriel as well, is the fact that these defences are some of the best in the Champions League and, of course, within their respective leagues as well. Arsenal, 5 clean sheets so far in the Champions League. And like I said, one of the best sides in the Premier League as well for clean sheets and for the XG conceded metric as well within the Premier League. Obviously, Gabriel also has that threat from set pieces. We've seen it this season in the Premier League. He's been an absolute monster in the air. His ball recovery numbers could be a little bit better, but I think hopefully against PSV, he definitely could rack up quite a few of them. In terms of moving on to Inter and obviously Dumfries and Martinez, they've played 8 games so far in the Champions League and they've kept 7 clean sheets, a ridiculously disciplined record, and I want to take full advantage of that, heading into a pretty favourable fixture against Feyenoord with decent clean sheet odds according to the bookmakers as well. Schlotterbeck is going to complete our lineup for the Tuesday. He's pretty much just a ball recovery magnet, 61 ball recoveries so far for him in the tournament, and the reason that I've selected him, and as we'll come on to see quite a few Dortmund players, I do believe that they should progress past Lille this season. Obviously, the Champions League is now going to be their main focus, I would say, for the remainder of the campaign. It's not been a great year in terms of the Bundesliga. The Champions League and any sort of qualification back into it for next season is probably going to be resting on how they perform this season. And they're probably looking at that draw thinking, if we can get past, Barcelona, then either one of Bayern or Inter, we're in the final yet again. It's definitely, they've got the nicer side of the draw, I would say. Obviously, if they do have to play Barca in the next round, not ideal, but I definitely think going forward, Dortmund players could be a really good route. And I like Schlotterbeck as a defender, purely down to the fact of his ball recovery numbers. In terms of the 2 defenders we've got on the bench, I wanted to go for a Barca player because I think they're going to go deep in this tournament. I do feel they'll probably make the semi-finals, if not the final themselves. So getting in early on defenders, midfielders, attackers is going to be the play there, and that's why we've selected Jules Koundé. Hakimi as well is an absolute GOAT. 5 assists, 1 goal, 48 ball recoveries so far in this tournament. He's just got it all, hasn't he? The ball recoveries, the attacking numbers, and massively passes the eye test every single time I've watched him play so far this season. It's going to be a difficult game against Liverpool, but I think with them being home first, probably could see him getting an attacking return. I would not surprise me, to be honest. Moving into the midfield, obviously I had doubts about Adeyemi in the last, and it's not been a great season for him. 6 goal involvements in the Bundesliga, 5 goal involvements in the Champions League as well. Obviously, 3 of those came against Celtic with his first half hat-trick, and he has been a little bit down on confidence. However, today in a press conference, he did mention that he's been working extremely hard and he's in the right frame of mind to go and prove himself right, that he is still a very, very good player. I read that and I was like, you know what, this guy's going to stay in here. We've got history. We owned him for his first half hat-trick against Celtic. Let's give him one more opportunity to go and do it. Rafinha, I think, is probably got to be a player I feel most people need to have. Obviously been absolutely killing it in the Champions League. 8 goals, 5 assists. One of the top scoring players. One of the top scorers as well within the competition. Like I said, I think Barcelona are going to go extremely deep in this competition. So he's an absolute must. Now, I was umming and ahhing over Rodgers earlier. Or should I say the video yesterday. And I've gone for Asensio because I feel like some of the appearances we've seen from him, and I think the calibre of the player that he is, he's definitely one of those big game players that can show up in the Champions League. Now, I think Rodgers definitely could do it as well, and I think he's probably the more nailed, but I fancy just something a little bit more explosive within that game, somebody that could just take the game by the scruff of the neck, and I think Asensio could be that man to do it. So we've gone with him. We still might switch back to Rodgers. I'm still a little bit undecided on that one. Mohamed Salah, I think it's got to be an absolute must. I think if he's got any chance of winning the Ballon d'Or this season, he needs a strong run, probably to the final of the Champions League as well. And I definitely think it is a possibility that they're going to reach the semi-finals if they can get past, of course, PSG. They'd then have a Bruges or a Villa in the quarterfinals. Pretty decent fixture there. 25 goals, 17 assists for Liverpool this season in 28 games is absolutely ridiculous. That is why we've got him, and also represents a decent captaincy option as well on the 5th. And then our final midfielder on the bench is Dembele, having one of the best seasons out in France this year in terms of overall goal involvement. 7 goal involvements within the UCL as well. And I think PSG are starting to find their feet within this competition as well. Obviously smashed Brest with a 10-0 aggregate win. It's a real shame that he didn't get himself more involved within the second game for that one. Let's finish up then. Let's take a look at our 3 forwards. We're going to go with the Champions League's top goal scorer. It is Guirassy with 13 goal involvements, a penalty taker as well. Absolutely killing it for Dortmund this season. I think he's an easy pick, isn't he? Considering he is, of course, trying to retain that golden boot. Then we do have Kylian Mbappe. He looked warm against Manchester City. I feel that was his big announcement moment. Of course, he's got himself 9 goal involvement so far this tournament. I definitely think we're going to add to it, and I definitely think the big appeal of going for him is he does give me a great captaincy option, of course, with the game, the games on the 4th of February. And then finishing up, it is going to be Lewandowski, not only one of the top scorers within this season's Champions League, but overall as well with 103 goals to his name, chasing down that Messi record. I don't think he's going to get it. He's going to need some pretty ridiculous kind of stats this tournament and probably next season as well. But what Benfica are one of his favourite sides to go and score against. He's managed to score 9 goals throughout his entire career against Benfica within the Champions League. So reading that pretty much confirmed he was going to be in my side. And like I said, I think Barcelona have got a real good chance of progressing deep into this tournament. That was my team selection ahead of Matchday 11. Let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. And of course, if you've got any questions about your team, get them in as we'll try to answer as many as we possibly can. But thank you for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in Matchday 11.